And we're back. The Clio. I bet half of you are wondering, well, what am I going to do with it? I've got no keys. Engine's half stripped apart. How am I going to sort that out? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do about it. I know in the last video I said that I would not be pissing around with this engine. I'm going to pull it, but something got me thinking, well, what happens if I manage to get a set of keys, sort it all out and then try and start it? The engine's half apart, so I got bored and put the engine back together. There would have been nothing worse than taking this engine out, putting another engine in, and then finding an issue where it would be wiring or something along them lines. And it wasn't really a risk I was willing to take. This engine was taken apart for a reason, and they call me the Clio Whisperer. Some people do. It's usually a few of my friends taking the piss. But I've obviously got Matilda sat in the unit, and I've got hundreds of keys for Clios that I've broken in the past, and I managed to fashion one which is close to fit in the locks. So I modified it a little bit, and now I have a working key blade. So it's down to immobilizer and stuff. So I nicked the UCH, which is like the body control module, out of Matilda, the pickup ring from the steering wheel, and the ECU, which I've loosely unplugged the other one, and this is Matilda's ECU. And what better way of finding out what is the matter with this engine than trying to start it? There you have it. It starts and it sounds like a bag of spanners in a washing machine. So, as most would call it, engine very bad, which is good. Not for this engine, but I know that now I could drop an engine in here, it's going to fire up and jobs are good 'un. So my diagnosis would be it's either got a top end rattle or the bottom end's gone. But I would never have known that if it sat in the unit gathering dust, and then I could have done the belts and stuff on there, put it in another car and find out it was shagged that way. But now I know not to mess around with this one because it's pretty much a full rebuild job, and I will not be doing that. So if you want an engine to build, I've got one for sale, dirt cheap, like the budgie. So I've got a working Clio now. As I said, I've got a key. It does the fobs, everything locks, alarm works, the lot. It's got 90,000 miles on the clock, and yeah, now we know why the engine was stripped apart. Winning. So this is what you call a UCH. This is like the body control module, and if you need one of these because you've got no keys, there's a black plug here. But basically what you do is you take the side panel off, you undo these two 20 Torx 20s, T20s, you move this little box out the way, this little fuse box, then up behind the dash will be sat one of these on that clip section there. So just have a fettle around and you'll have 3 plugs. You press the pins in the side of the 2 there, then you've got one here which you press a tab down, and try and do this one-handed. It pops out like so and out, but I'm not going to remove this because I've not wrong fitted it. So that's that one. A pickup ring. This is that. So you've got a little plug there that you pop off, and you just give this a bit of a Beth twaddle, and it comes off, and it sits in its own little spline. So have a fiddle around, see where it wants to sit, and that is to give you a signal for your key, to make sure your key works. Taking this cowling off, underneath here there's 3 T20 Torx. This one's like a really long one, so that's pretty simple. Let's have a good look underneath the dash to this section here, which is this one on this lower cowling. Then the top cowling basically pops off because it clips onto this one. Sort of like that. Yeah, it clips in anyway. So that's how you pull that off. To get the key out, you undo these two pull tabs here on this bit of loom. Easier said than done because a bit of the dash gets in the way. Take the pickup ring back out again. There we go. And to remove the key barrel, you have another T20 Torx. So you undo that. It's literally about 5mm long, and then you put your key in. If you don't have one, well, you're gonna have to figure something out. You've got basically 2 pins there. So once you turn it to 2 clicks, you can push these in and then pull the key barrel out to the engine bay. As for the ECU, you've got a few little 10mm. You'll soon figure out where they are. This always snaps off here, so don't ever be worried if yours has. You've got a metal box which sits on the top. You can pry that off. Then you've got basically a pull. So you pull that out, the ECU pops out. It's as simple as that. Then just replace your ECU. Locks. You have to take the door card out, which is pretty simple. Under here, another T20 Torx. Here, I believe, is a T30. I don't think there's any more hidden ones. Then basically, you pry out from the bottom. You pop all them out. I'm sure there might be some behind here as well, but this just pops off with a screwdriver, and you might have to undo the speaker to pop it off. This pops out. Then your lock is held in by these 2 10mm here. So that's how you change a key, a lock in the door. You've got like a little pull tab thing. It sits around, imagine there's a bar there. You pull the thing off, then you pull the bar out, then your lock pops out. It's pretty simple. So how much is a lock set? Well, you should get ECU, 2 door locks. Unless it's a 182, then they only have the passenger door lock, petrol filler cap, pickup ring, UCH and ECU, and that is what you need to get the job done. It's pretty simple. There's plenty of videos online. I've just showed you the areas where they are, so it's not hard. They're about 120 quid for a full lock set. If you can get 2 keys, it's a bonus, but I went this route when I bought 2 virgin keys off eBay for, I think they were like 10 quid each or something. And my friend Sharky, he's got coding software on his Snap-on diagnostic machine. He come up and give it a go, and it was a non-event. He showed me on another vehicle, and it come up with all the settings for setting up a key or coding a key on that vehicle. But on the Clio, it was, nah, computer says no. So yeah, that's why I had to go and nick the ones off Matilda. I've got a key, so I didn't need to nick the key, all the locks and stuff off Matilda, because the key that I fashioned together fits the locks, it unlocks everything. It was mainly, I figured it out to try and undo the steering lock, because that's a problem. I can't move the car if the steering lock's on. It only goes forward and slightly to the left. So moving the car was almost a non-event. So I fashioned a key, but it ended up being a lot better than I expected it to be. So when I go and get another key blade made, it will be a proper key. So it'll be a little bit tidier than what I conjured together, which is a win. Now, if you're after parts and you see stuff on the Clio pages, there's probably 10 Clio pages you can buy parts from. Don't let yourself get scammed. Everyone is out to get you. It is literally, you are prey and they are the hunter, and they are after your money. Do not take PayPal. Even selling, you're not safe. PayPal is a no-go for me. Bank transfer or nothing, but only if it's from a reputable seller. I use a couple. I'm one myself. If I break a car, I've got a pretty good reputation when I sell parts, and there's a couple of good ones I use. So ask the question. A lot of Clio parts are expensive, like headlights, 120 to 220 quid. Yeah, I know, yeah, it's a Clio, but it's kind of not. Grills, front grille, 50 quid. Bumpers expect to pay 100, 120 quid. So it goes on and on and on. Engines start from 300 quid up to 1,000 quid if it's had all the belts and stuff done and it's low mileage, etc., and it's got paperwork. Expect to pay £1,000. Gearboxes, 350 quid. Don't get scammed. Seriously, you will thank me later. Ask on the pages who's a reputable seller, and if their name pops up a few times, there's a good chance. Check them out, and they may be decent. I use Danny Rag. I give him a mention because never had an issue with him. I've been to go and collect parts off him. Top guy. He can't do enough for you. Always goes out of his way. If I need something and he hasn't got it, he'll let me know when he has one in, just in case I need it again. So that's a good one. Sorry if I forgot anybody else that I use, but there's plenty of people out there, and don't get scammed. So a little final thought. I think this car should be called Elsa, as in it's iceberg silver, iceberg, frozen, ice, you get the picture. So yeah, and I didn't really touch on how long it took me to actually get it running. And after I went through all the bolts that came with the engine, there's about 20 missing, and start to finish, me opening the bonnet to me turning key and it getting fired up was about 20 minutes, if that. So there you go. And also, after I got it fired up, it ran, apart from it knocking its box off, it ran for about 20 minutes. Obviously topped up the coolant with water, because I'm not going to waste 30-40 quid's worth of coolant in a car where the engine could be scrapped. So there's another one, spare a thought. If you're in this sort of situation, just top it up with water. What's the worst that can happen? You can drop the bottom radiator hose and drain the whole system, then top up with coolant when you're happy with how things are going. Yeah, it run. I thought it was going to quieten down a little bit, and it did. So I thought it might be a sticky lifter and we might be lucky on this one. A bit like how the Primera went. The Primera's running mint after a good 10 minutes. Once it built up pressure and hydraulic lifters sorted themselves out. I thought this was going to be a top end, but kind of thinking that it may be bottom end because it started to get worse. So I just thought I'd leave that there for you. And also, spare a thought, we bought this car with the intention of chucking the other engine in anyway. So we knew that if the engine was going to work, it would be a bonus, but it was still always going to have the other engine. So bear that in mind. If you buy a car, it's a non-runner, these can be really expensive to fix. We bought this with the intention of already changing the engine, so we was mindful about that. We already had an engine in stock. Don't cut yourself short. Things are a risk. So when you see one of these Clios for sale, it's about 1,000 quid, it's a non-runner, there's a reason. They're very, very complex to work on, they're very, very expensive to work on, and just have a plan B set. Don't get me wrong, I am not trying to put you off these cars. Clio 172s, 182s, Megans, they can be boringly reliable if you look after them. They will look after you, but be under no illusion that these things, if you just thrash them everywhere, they're getting older now, parts are becoming very scarce. There's still loads of them about, but the parts fetch a premium, which I keep saying, so I'm just trying to drill that into you. Save up and get a good one. A good one of these will cost you 4.5, 5 grand for a decent low mileage one. The ones what are cheap are usually cheap for a reason, and you'll soon end up spending as much to get to get your one that's cheaper to a higher standard and reliability, etc. if you buy a cheap one in the first place. So bear that in mind. Plan moving forward. Well, you probably heard this before somewhere. This would be something I do on the weekends, because obviously weekdays is work o'clock. I have a job the same as everyone else does, and this will not be prioritising over that, because this will not pay my bills. But the cars on the ramp do. So she'll be having an engine, this will be whipped out. I'll probably get a couple of friends over on a weekend just to get it over and done with quicker, and then show you the process. I'll also go through showing you how to change a UCH setup in case you do buy a car from somewhere and it's got no keys, etc. I'm not going to show you how to fashion a key because I'm not a professional car thief, but I am a fabricator and I seem to figure shit out pretty well. But there we have it. Nice little short video. Some people said this car will never run again. Unlucky for you, because it has. Not very well, but still proved the point. It did run again, and it will be on the road again. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next one. Adios.